Yesterday, the S&P 500 broke down below the upward sloping support line of this price channel, which stems back all the way from November 2020. This price action came alongside the news that one of China's biggest companies, Evergrande, may be about to collapse. U.S. stocks struggle to recover today from Evergrande while investors await the outcome of the Fed meeting. And no, it is not a coincidence that the crypto market also saw a lot of bearish speculation alongside one of the biggest corrections we've seen in quite some time for the stock market. Because cryptocurrency is so heavily based on speculation, when the stock market is very bearish, well, crypto speculators are not confident. So at this point in time, it is very crucial for the stock market to get a bounce off this level. There is an argument to be made that this previous wick low down here from March of 2021 could actually be the base of this channel. The upward sloping support line could actually be referenced from there. And of course, you can make the argument that that's a little bit of hopium, but if the S&P does not hold this level and we can't sustain this channel line, then really there's nothing else to be said other than this probably is the beginning of a much larger, longer-term correction for the stock market. Now, something else that I noticed is that Bitcoin on the daily chart is potentially entering a falling wedge pattern. Looking at the daily chart here, we can see that we have these lower highs and these lower lows, and if you draw some trend lines along both of them, you get a falling wedge pattern. So what are the targets here? How low could Bitcoin possibly go if we were going to move into the pattern completion zone of this falling wedge? Well, in the meantime, we may see the price stall from here, head up towards possibly as high as 44,500 for the resistance target. And then if we were going to see another leg down, we might see a wick, a fake out below the $40,000 level and a touch off of about 38,500 at the bottom of this falling wedge. And as you guys know, a falling wedge is generally a bullish pattern. This type of a downward sloping consolidation pattern does usually have a bullish result. So if you are somebody that bought the dip here, I think that's probably generally a good thing, not a bad idea in case we don't actually go lower. But if we do go lower, well, you have a chance to average down even more around the 38,500 level. So yeah, these lower ranges of the falling wedge are good areas to average into the market, in my opinion. Of course, not financial advice. Now, at the end of this falling wedge pattern, if we do get down here, you would want to see a break, hook, and go to really confirm that we are breaking out of this, though that is all speculation. We're going to have to see how this plays out over the next couple weeks. So moving forward, I do expect a lot of uncertainty, right? I do expect a lot of theories. A lot of people on social media are going to be throwing around their ideas. You're going to see all kinds of comments coming out of crypto social media over the next few weeks. But personally, I would just say stay calm and be ready for a possible test of the bottom of this falling wedge before getting that bullish reversal. Now, a key moving average that I want to discuss right now is the 128 SMA. This is actually historically a very important moving average for Bitcoin and bull and bear markets, and we just got a direct touch off this level. And that is super interesting to me that that is our current support line. If you go back in time, you can see that that was also our support area back here in September 2020, going into October 2020. And if you go back in time to 2019, this was a final support level on this descending triangle formation. Once we got below it, it was a bear market. Once we bounced up, we used it as resistance here. So a lot of activity, a lot of action surrounding this moving average. It was resistance multiple times in the 2018 bear market. We also bounced off of it directly multiple times in the bull market of 2016 and 2017. It was a perfect support level to be keeping your eye on and to be buying alongside of. So needless to say, this is really a moving average that the market interacts with a lot throughout Bitcoin history, and we are now touching it. And the interesting thing is that we actually talked about this a month ago or more. Weeks and weeks ago, we talked about this exact scenario taking place as a possibility. Let's play the clip. So if Bitcoin does extend up into the $50,000 range, we would likely find bearish speculation, a little bit of profit taking, and I'm looking for the 128-day and the 200-day moving average as an accumulation zone before the next leg up. And now, here today, this is exactly where we are. So I'm not sure what else you guys want from me. Give you guys pretty much an exact prediction of exactly what the future held back in the beginning of August. And here we are today seeing that exactly play out. And if you're looking a little bit closer, as I'm making this video, we're touching that 128 day. So this is a good area of accumulation. So like we've been saying for weeks now, this 128 day moving average, if we can reclaim this as support, it would be probably your best buy zone of the range, right? Even though we might get a wick below it to the pattern completion zone of the falling wedge, that's always possible. Accumulating along the 128-day moving average really is going to be probably the most optimal range to be buying alongside of before Bitcoin potentially continues up. If you use your line chart and you draw a trend line from this low in March to the next area of support here in October 2020, and you just line up those two areas, well, from the line chart perspective, Bitcoin is actually on a perfect uptrend, and Bitcoin does have a little bit more room to move down before actually falling below this line chart upward sloping trend line. And that lower area is about, in that final area of support down here along this trend line, this upward sloping trend line comes in right about 38,500, which is exactly the target that we just discussed for the bottom of this falling wedge. So yeah, this is a possibility that we may just be hugging the 128-day SMA until we actually get our break, hook, and go out of this falling wedge pattern, which could be coming, in the beginning of October. Possibly, most likely the beginning of October is when we're going to see a breakout of the falling wedge. So you guys know that I am bullish on Bitcoin overall. I do think that generally we are still in a bull market. We are still in a bullish environment. If Bitcoin does end up falling down below, 38,500 and we break down again and we hit horizontal lows and the stock market is continuing its pullback, well, I would say that that's not good, and we probably are going to be entering a longer term bear market where we see a sustained decrease in price, right? And we would want to be exiting the market on the next major bounce up to this resistance line. So that is the bearish scenario alongside a stock market collapse. If the stock market remains stable, I do think that Bitcoin is going to look to actually continue this bull market and see all-time highs by the end of the year. So yes, things are changing. It's becoming a little bit more uncertain right now, but I would say just expect sideways and down for a couple weeks and then a breakout of this falling wedge and a retest up towards that resistance of 50,000. And then we'll from that point, we really just need to sustain that 128-day SMA, right? So from that point, we want to just maintain the 128-day on our recovery, right? That's the kind of thing we want to see. Because again, the 128-day SMA is historically very important for Bitcoin. Not many people talk about the 128-day SMA. We're one of the few channels that discussed it, like I showed you in that previous video from a few weeks ago. This was a downside target, so accumulating around this range is not a bad idea. Expect one potential test down into the bottom of this formation before potential move up again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to this channel. Be sure to join the Patreon if you want to see what I'm doing in this market, want to get access to my portfolio, and I'll see you guys in the next video.